code, basically they changed the dates on ordering 3. Hello, welcome. I'm Joshua Perkins with Compression Care, welcoming you to our third Spotlight educational series of 2025. As you may know, we host these meetings monthly, and we will have a few more coming up over the next few months. We have some exciting guests on the docket, and I hope you'll continue to be on the lookout for our future invites. So watch your email, check our schedule on our website at compressioncare.com. And before we get into Aaron's presentation today, which I'm very excited about, I want to tell you a little bit about Compression Care and our sister company, Pretty in Pink Boutique, which is based in Nashville, Tennessee. We have been in the business of helping patients with their compression needs and billing for garments for almost 20 years now. In fact, next month is our 20-year anniversary. So it's coming up here in just a couple weeks. Compression Care is the national vision of the owner and founder, Pamela Ludwig. Pam started PIPB and Compression Care with the goal of helping patients get the care they need while never paying more than they have to. At Compression Care, we strive to improve patients' lives by making high-quality care accessible, affordable, and convenient no matter where they live. We hire certified compression fitters as our case managers, and this ensures that if you have questions, there will be a knowledgeable person helping you out and your patient with any garment needs. All new referrals and questions can be emailed to referrals@compressioncare.com or faxed to 615-807-3334. A little housekeeping before I get into Aaron's introduction, but if you have any questions, please post them in the chat. Aaron will be happy to answer them. I can help out with that as well. I'll field those for you all. So today, I'm very excited about this. We have Erin Sokolsky, and Erin has more designations behind her name than I care to read today, but she is a physical therapist assistant who has treated patients for almost 10 years before moving into the compression therapy industry, where she's gained extensive experience in customer service management, marketing, and product development. She's with the goal of furthering the awareness of lymphedema and compression therapy. Her focus has been the education of clinicians, fitters, and patients as a speaker at national and international conferences and symposiums. She currently works for Essity as the National Clinical Manager of Lymphedema and Phlebology. Aside from all of that and all those great accolades, Erin and I have worked together for many years. She spent a lot of time riding around in a car with me when we worked together, and I honestly refer to her as a sister, and she's a great friend, a great person, and I'm very excited to listen to what she has to say today. So thank you very much, and Erin, take it away.
Well, thank you, Josh. Yes, I'm super excited to be here too because I consider Josh, like he said, we are like brother and sister, and sometimes we argue like brother and sister. But through that, we've actually formed a really good relationship and a very strong relationship between our two companies. It's been a pleasure to see Compression Care start and grow as much as it has over these last couple of years. So kudos to you, congratulations, and looking forward to seeing what else we can do together moving forward. So, but today I am here to talk about a little bit about how Jobst and Compression Care work together. So if you want to go to the next slide, I'll introduce who we are. First of all, well, I'm Erin Sokolsky, so I am the National Clinical Manager. That's okay. There were a couple other slides in there, but it doesn't seem to work. But We have 14 medical advisors scattered throughout the country who are also here to help you. So I cover nationally, and I get to work with each of those medical advisors throughout the country. They are mostly focused on lymphology. So they are your experts. And we will get you a map and their contact information of where they are so that you can reach out to them if you need help. But if you go to the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit about who Jobst is in general. Our mission is to help patients live better lives, destigmatize conditions, and provide best-in-class products and education. The big thing about us is the destigmatization, and we do that across all of the kind of the TAs that we have, whether it's from incontinence, because we do have incontinence products, to periods, talking about that with the younger generation, understanding that it happens, to lymphedema and lipedema, destigmatizing these conditions so that everybody's talking about them as if they're talking about diabetes or talking about high blood pressure. Like we want to normalize these so that everybody's talking about them and everybody's getting the best care possible. How do we do that? Well, we've got a bunch of products for you. Starting, first of all, we have bandaging. If you've ever seen Comprolon and all of these products out there, that is us. So the traditional bandaging that you do, we have that. We also have some bandage packages. We have Compra 2 and Compra 4, which are the 2-layer and 4-layer bandaging. Next. Oh yeah, so my transitions aren't working, so you can't see everything on here, but that's okay. So we have a multitude of ready-to-wear products. What I wanted to focus on here is that we do have an improvement coming in 2025. That is this year. It's happening soon, and it is our Jobst for Men. We are enhancing that product with improved, unique features that you will see soon. But behind that, you will see that we have everything from your traditional opaque to sports socks, to ulcer care, to diabetic sports socks. We have everything for your style in these ready-to-wear products. We also have some circular knit products for specifically more for lymphedema. We have our Bella Light and our Bella Strong. These are 2 upper extremity products. The cool thing about the Bella Light is these are ready to wear, but we do have a Bella Strong glove, which is actually a flat knit seamless glove. So that's fantastic. It is ready to wear, flat knit, seamless. And I like to reiterate that because that's huge when it comes to those patients that may not have great insurance and need something a little bit less expensive, but still need that kind of flat knit. It's a great, great product. We also have Custom Seamless Soft and Custom Bellabar. These are 2 circular knit products for your mild lymphedema or your mild to moderate vascular disease. Next. Of course, we have our Jobst Pharaoh Wraps. We have these. The great thing about the Pharaoh Wraps is their patented elastic short stretch and the 50% overlap. So with that, that takes you right back into your bandaging that you would do as a clinician. So the 50% overlap, short stretch, we're getting the low resting pressure, high working pressure. And you also have 20 to 30 or 30 to 40 millimeters of mercury options. So you don't really have to think about it. You put the garment on, you stretch it to its end stretch, and you put those bands down, and you're getting that desired pressure. So we have a bunch of different fabrics for this that will help manage your patients from mild to moderate vascular disease, mild lymphedema, all the way up to severe lymphedema with the lobes with our classic, which is fantastic. Okay, next. We also have custom seamed. This is the original gradient compression garment. So this is the one Conrad Jobst created years and years ago to help with his vascular disease. And if you can dream it, we can seam it, is what we like to say, because we can make this for so many different options: head, neck, trunk, genitals, arms, legs, hands, feet. We always say think outside the box when you have those difficult patients, because there's a pretty good chance that we're going to be able to figure it out with our custom seamed. Then, of course, we have our flat knit family. So we have 5 different fabrics here. Elverex and Elverex Plus are kind of gold standard. These are the ones that have that latex core. We choose to use latex because of the way that it works with containment. So it stretches but comes back to its original shape much easier and much faster and lasts longer with that containment. We do, however, have Elverex Soft and Elverex Soft Seamless, which do not have latex in them. And then the Confidence is our newest product that's been out for a few years now, and it is fantastic for your very active patients, your lipedema patients, your pediatric patients. This is a 2-layer product that moisture wicks from the skin, lets it evaporate. It moves very nicely. It's flexible, but yet still containing. So great product. Okay. We do have nighttime products. We have our Relax, which is for your mild to moderate lymphedema patients. This is very, very special in that this is made with a monofilament spacer section. So that's how we get the high-low pressure points in this garment, along with the dimples in the fabric. But instead of using the traditional foam, we have these monofilament spacers that allow this product to be a lot lower profile and comfortable to wear at night. Very cool, very breathable. But we do have our Jovi Pack, which is the best product out there for your fibrotic patients. So this was made to break down and really work on those fibrotic areas, that fibrosis that a lot of our later stage lymphedema patients may have. We also have this in custom and ready to wear, and we can do every body part for this: head, neck, trunk, arms, legs, genitals, breast, everything.
Yep. I will say too, just to jump in a little bit, that Relax garment, if you haven't seen it, you should take a look at it, because it's different from anything else I've seen. So I really, when it first came out, I was amazed by it, but it's great, and the patients seem to love it. So
yeah, love it. We also have Jovi pads and Jovi pit packs. So lots of different shaped pads. This isn't even all of them that we have, especially for breast and chest, but for the entire body. But the Jovi pit packs are unique in that they're actual cherry pits that have been dried, sterilized, and then sewn into these garments. This just goes along with the whole idea of breaking down that fibrosis. You can utilize these pads during treatment to break down those really, really hard fibrotic areas and help get that fluid moving. These should be used like under the supervision of the therapist. We don't usually recommend that you just hand these to the patient and say, take these home, because, they're very aggressive and they're hard, cherry pits, but they do break up the fibrosis. So just another great treatment option for your difficult fibrotic patients. We also have the Belize bra. And so this is really to promote healing after breast surgery, and it gives compression around the whole torso in that area. So the breast, the side of the chest, the back of the trunk, it really helps to facilitate that drainage of that excess fluid out of that area. A lot of our Jovi pads fit in very nicely in there, and this can be worn day or night. This was approved for the night code for the lymphedema. So that's important to know.
Yeah, that's actually, it was very helpful when they got that approved, because it made a big difference.
It did, yes. So also, just to throw out there, in case you didn't know, we have Leukotape K. So a lot of clinicians are utilizing kinesiology taping for treating their lymphedema patients. And we do have the Leukotape K, and it works well to help facilitate lymphatic flow. But don't forget, we also have all of our accessories. So these are the accessories that help with donning compression garments. So Medicare does have some of these approved for that accessory code. The Arion donner, the gloves, our donning cage, slippies, the Dysum, especially if you are ever getting a Jovi garment you must get your patients some Dyson too, because these garments are not pull-on garments, they are push-on garments, because when you pull on a Jovi, it actually stretches it and makes it smaller and harder to get on. So these, you need the Dyson so that you're pushing these on the patient's limbs. And of course, we have our Cutimed Acute, which is a fantastic skin moisturizer made with urea. And then our roll-on adhesive, so to help keep some of those garments up.
Perfect.
Just a little information, please don't ever forget about the Jobst Compression Institute, because if you're ever looking for up-to-date information on order forms, any of the LTA information especially is there. All of our videos, webinars, literature, everything that is going to be up to date is going to be on that Jobst Compression Institute, which is simply www.jobstcompressioninstitute.com.
That's yeah, we actually have too a link off our compressioncare.com website that'll get them over to all of your forms. So if they need measurement forms for upper, lower, whatever they need, those are all linked to. If you go to compressioncare.com and then click on forms, it'll get them over to
Perfect.
all of your forms too. So, but that
right there,
that Compression Institute is awesome.
Yeah. And this is just an example of what our page looks like for PDAC. So if you're ever wondering, this houses all of our letters from PDAC that show what we registered for when it comes to codes for each of those products. So you'll see, it has a little arrow there. So just click on that and it'll drop down all of the options for the Ferro Wrap or for Jovi Pack, etc. We have lots of training and webinars. We do our own. We do them in collaboration with Josh and Compression Care, but we do have our own trainings and webinars. You can find all of those on JCI. So we do have monthly webinars. We have a Path online learning portal, which you can access from JCI, that has self-paced learnings and things like that. But of course, we have all of our in-person trainings that our wonderful MAs do throughout the US. We also have some online ordering. If you choose to order direct, we recommend going through Compression Care. But if you do order direct for other things that maybe Josh isn't covering just yet, health and medical, we have ready-to-wear eShop, and then we have our custom eShop. And please follow us on social media, because this is where you'll find the most up-to-date information. We're doing great campaigns right now with Lymphedema Awareness Month. We're coming to the end of this month. I can't even believe it, but some great things go on there. You can find lots of cool information, and so follow us. These are all of our handles, I guess we call them.
Yeah. So hey, I want to back up one slide to this, the custom eShop, because and you can tell me to be quiet, but from what I understand, therapists can actually log on and put in orders and choose that order goes to Compression Care, and then we would have all of the measurements perfectly done. Is that correct too?
That's absolutely correct. This is one of the coolest things about our custom eShop, is the fact that if I'm a clinician and I'm measuring my patients and I would like to have my billing go through Compression Care, we can connect in the background. We would connect us in the background, and then I can enter my order, measure the patient, enter the order, and choose Compression Care as my billing. And when I click send, then that order goes directly to Josh. He would get that. They would do the insurance verification. It goes to Josh as a quote. It goes to Compression Care as a quote. And then once they get that verified and everything, you can put your PO in there, and then you click send, and it goes back to Jobst, and Jobst enters that order. And then me as a clinician, I would get an email once you send the order into Jobst. I would get an email saying that it has shipped. So I would get updates on the status of how that order is processing through there. So it's a pretty cool system. And also really nice about it is it won't allow you to order anything that's not technically available.
Yep.
So if you're trying to put a zipper in with a profile that you can't actually do, it won't allow you to do that. So you can't send in orders that don't work. and or measurements. It gives you hints on measurements like, hey, that doesn't seem right. Do you want to check that again? And so your orders get processed faster. They go to the front of the line, and you don't have to wait for those callbacks to say, hey, you forgot to choose a color, kind of thing too.
Yeah, I really like these portals because they, if your LK1 must be within 2 centimeters of an LK2 or whatever the rule is there. But it just tells you that right up front. So there's no back and forth. You don't send it to us and then we send it and then they come back and say, hey, something's wrong with this. And then we have to send off and say, hey, therapist, something's wrong with this. And then you have to look at it. It's in real time and you can make adjustments on the fly and fix it so that that the order is perfect. And like Aaron said, even the color is selected so that everything is done. And then it just flows through. You still have to actually send to us the referral, like the demographics and the insurance information so that we can process it. But you can just write on the referral cover sheet and say, this is part of the Jobst custom eShop. And we know to go over there and get it and make it happen from that point. So it does make life a little easier, and there's a lot of benefits there. So I'm glad you brought that up, Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just to summarize, let's work together. We want to be the first compression brand to truly destigmatize venous and lymphatic conditions, improve patients' lives, and improve the perception of the whole segment and encourage more patients to use compression, because that's what it's all about.
All right.
Yeah, and thank you.
All right, I believe that kicks off the end of it there. So I do want to just mention a couple things because as we're talking through like the LTA and different changes that come out. One change has recently come out that I figure while I have some people on here to talk about, it does affect. Let's say that you're ordering a ferro wrap in January, and then another daytime compression sock in or just say January, February, March. You order one each time. Medicare is actually tracking that, and when they originally came out and said. They were just saying you get 3 every 6 months on a daytime garment. But now we know that they are actually saying it's from the date you got that garment. So if you order 1 in January, 1 in February, 1 in March, your next order can be July, but you can only order 1. And then you have to wait till August, and then you have to wait till September to order the other one. So we're trying to consolidate that down a little bit and say, okay, let's do what we can do best for the patient. And I know that there's always times that, if you're ordering a ready to wear, I would recommend going ahead and ordering 3. If you're ordering a made-to-measure garment, one of the seamless, whatever it is, right? Whether you're doing those, the Elvarex, all of that, I would still order 1 for fit. But our system at Compression Care, we have a system that follows up with that patient. It automatically alerts us and says, hey, we need to be ordering the other ones. Did it fit? So that we can reach out to not only the therapist, but also the patient, say, is everything good? If it is, we'd like to get that going because, just the processing time will already push it probably a month. By the time they wear it, wash it, and know that it fits well. And then we get the next one into order. It's going to be the next month anyway. But if we can shrink that time frame, what it does is it allows the patient to have an easier transition 6 months from now when they're getting other garments in. So I did want to bring that up as well, just because that's something pretty new. They've been they haven't communicated well about these rules, but this is one that they just said, hey, this is the new thing.
One of the things about this whole LTA, we're 1 year in, right? So we had 2024, everybody was learning. I mean, we were thrown into the deep end and everybody was learning, but we have to remember, even Medicare was learning because Medicare was given this, they created this, and then the people, PDAC and everybody that had to work with it they had to learn it too. And so one of the great things, the USMCA has been working very closely with them to continue to move this LTA forward, right? We got new codes for compression wraps last year. We got a couple of those codes adjusted. Well, it was at the beginning of this year. We also, they did an increase in reimbursement. Their fee schedule, they increased that a little bit, but we're continuing to work with them to move these things forward. We know some of these codes aren't, perfect. And some things could use some better wording, but then some codes are just completely missing. And so what I think is great is the fact that it's difficult right now, but Medicare is really willing to work with us, being the lymphedema community in general, billers, DMEs, therapists, manufacturers, to really continue to improve this bill and this reimbursement that's been needed for so long.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we've been on our side too. We've been happy about it. Like it's moving along, and there are hiccups and there are things that change, but it's been good overall. One question that came in, I think because I mentioned ordering 3, and I'll let you handle this, Aaron. I know, but if a therapist orders 3 and they don't like it or need to exchange it, what happens?
We say no way. No, I'm just kidding. Absolutely. So we are totally fine if you do decide to order 3, because we understand for some people it just makes things a little bit easier, right? I got 3, and then in 6 months I get 3 more. So we understand that is going to happen, and we're going to work with you. We're going to fix them. We're going to replace them. We would replace all 3. So that is not a concern. We don't want you to worry about that. However, if it's another replacement and then another replacement, then we start to, we want to try and keep it to that one replacement cycle. So when you have that and you need to do it, if it's a difficult patient, please reach out to your medical advisor, or have Josh reach out to your medical advisor to make sure that we're fixing it the first time around. So we're, because ultimately it's about getting the patient the product they need in a timely fashion.
Yeah, for sure. And on ready to wear, they're really easy to work with as far, what ready to wear, if you order, whatever it is, the Bella Light, whatever it is, then we'll just send the new ones out. It's easy.
Yeah, that's easy peasy. Yeah, we can replace those.
For sure. And another question came in about where can they find out who the local rep is?
So you can either call our customer service team, and they can get you that information, or we can send out a list to the attendees of this call, Josh.
I think that'd be easy to do. Yeah, we'll get the map coverage that Aaron mentioned, and I will send that out to everybody that's on this call. So just be on the lookout for that. I'll send it out to you, no problem at all. Another question, looks like this one's going to be more in my wheelhouse, but any updates with UHC coverage? So
I will let you handle that.
That's a hotbed topic, let me tell you. As of right now, no. It's very difficult, and it's not us, and it's not our competitors or anything like that. It really is UHC, and we're hoping that the patients, let's just take for if you have UHC and you have a commercial policy, the chances are you have it through work, right? Which is the harder thing to change. But for the patients that are out there that have purchased UHC on their own, they should be contacting their agent to see if they can change. And when we look at the Medicare Advantage plans from UHC, you have to, there are certain periods that a patient can change that. And I think they should. The way to do it ethically and correctly, though, is to say, well, you have a Medicare Advantage with UHC, and that's going to pay for drugs and hospitals and things like that Medicare is not paying for. That's the reason people want these Medicare Advantage plans. But there are ways to look at what other plan also pays for those same drugs in those same hospitals, but will include some coverage for the lymphedema garments and not only include the coverage, but include the coverage that HMEs such as us would actually accept, and that's where it gets tricky. But there are ways, but I think that the only way to really affect that UHC is to take the patients who can make a change and get them to make a change. Because if we can do that, then it hits UHC where it actually counts to them, which is monetarily. And that's what's going to make a change in their policies. So that's the best I can give you right now. I keep hoping and praying and wishing that one day they'll just go, you know what, we've decided to actually pay decently on this. But, we'll see how that goes.
You know what, Josh? I'm going to jump in on that because I think one of the things that we tend to forget, and especially our patients, is the power that they have when it comes to their insurances. Their insurances, they're going to keep going the way they're going unless somebody tells them they need to do it differently. And I was very pleasantly surprised and pleased to see how the feedback from the community changed the Lymphedema Treatment Act. Like when the first rule came out, we were only getting 2 daytime garments every 6 months. And the feedback from the patients and the rest of the community changed that to 3. It's not the, 6 that we would love, but it changed it. And so patients, I always recommend, I'm like, you have power. You call your insurance companies and you talk to them and you tell them that this is what you need to adequately treat your condition and to manage your disease. And you'd be surprised when we get together like a group, like we did, what we can do for change.
It's very true. We got a question about the turnaround time for things like ferro wraps. How's that working right now?
Oh, well, I was hoping you'd ask custom because I actually just heard about custom. Our custom garments coming from Germany have depending on if they're like your standard colors, beige and black, we're at about a 4-day turnaround right now from the time that it gets entered into our system and the time it gets delivered to the patient. So if it's a color or some difficult options like things that we don't often do, say like a profile or things like that, it could take closer to 7 days. But ferro wrap, I actually don't know what the time is for that. I will have to check on that and we can get it.
Yeah, I'll write it down and I'll get it. I will say this, that as we cruise towards December last year, right, all of the manufacturers' wraps started backing up, and it was actually kind of interesting to see it from our side here because in January, February, March, what we saw was the therapists were calling us and they were saying, oh my gosh, we're swamped with patients, and then suddenly we got swamped with patients. And then as we pulled into like October, November, we were seeing the manufacturers were then swamped and going on to back orders. From what I understand, though, most of that has been cleared up at this point. I'm sure there's still some stragglers of sizes and stuff like that. If you get into the sizes that, may have gone on back order but aren't high producers, like the highest size and the lowest size are usually those outlier sizes. But we'll check, and Ellie, I'll get you a definitive answer on that. The next question here is Medicaid coverage. So Medicaid is an entirely different animal. It really is. The first step to any Medicaid in any state is that you get approval from the state. So then you have your state Medicaid number. But then inside that state, there can be 1 or there can be 8 different companies that provide Medicaid coverage. Ohio is one just offhand that I know has, I think, 4 different companies that provide coverage of Medicaid. So first thing, you have to get state, and then you go after the individual plans. And going after those plans, the different companies there, they can either offer a good contract, or they can say, well, here's the contract, and then they pay like UHC pays, which is under wholesale, to be quite honest. And so if we look at that, then it may be a good thing, it may not be a good thing. As a company, Compression Care, we are always trying to expand our contracts. We have an absolute ton. We can't even honestly list them all because it's huge and it changes all the time. And to kind of give you an example, Blue Cross Blue Shield has 6,000 different, 34 federal Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then underneath that, it could be Joshua Perkins Insurance. There's about 5,900 and something Joshua Perkins Insurance backed by Blue Cross Blue Shield. And then inside Joshua Perkins Insurance, you can have multiple policies, and some will, some won't. And so it gets crazy. So that's a way to kind of explain it. There's like over 1 million different combinations there that can happen. Medicaid is a lot like that, with the states added on there as well. And so we're working on it. We're working hard to get additional contracts. Medicaid is not something we can do outside of Tennessee and some Kentucky right now. So, but we are working to get other Medicaid coverages added into our system. But some will, some won't, is what that's the best I can tell you, is that some will pay, some won't, but it won't. Medicaid, we can't do Medicaid. All right. Any other questions out there? I don't see anything else popping up for us today. I do want to point out a couple things before I just close out and say bye to everybody. But if you want to be a part of that, the JCI, the Jobst Compression Institute, if you want to log in and you need that information again, you're welcome to just shoot me an email. My email is very simple. It's joshua@compressioncare.com. I'll send out the medical advisor list to everybody. But if you want to be a part of that JCI, shoot me an email and I'll get you hooked up with Aaron and everybody that you need to be hooked up with. So there's my email popping up there. So joshua@compressioncare.com, shoot me an email. Let me know that you want to join in with that JCI, and we'll get you part of that. So other than that, be on the lookout for next month's educational spotlight meeting. And we'll knock it out. We're going to have some good times on that one too. Aaron, thank you so much for being a part of this today. I really do appreciate it. And any other follow-up questions, shoot them over to that joshua@compressioncare.com, and I'll make sure that if I don't know the answer, I'll get it over to Aaron. So
yeah, absolutely. Right. Thank you so much for having us. And again, congrats on all the success with compression care. And thanks for letting us be a part of your journey.
Absolutely. It's been fun. So thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.